episode 1. I think I have to do this. Great, crushed it. I'm sure there's a program that does this for you, but I'm a production student from 2012. So it's been a minute. It's been 2012. That was 13 years ago. I'm just going to wet my whistle. I don't want to drink too much because I obviously have the nervous piddles because I've never done this. I'm also facing a completely clear sliding glass door, so anyone here can see me and perceive me, but that's okay because I have something to say. I have a few things to say. I'm out of breath. I apologize. It's a Sunday. I decided to go to Trader Joe's and Costco before this. This is also my first ever time here recording, so I'm out of my element. Everything feels different. We're going to address the elephant in the room right now. I need a longer headphone set because this doesn't come any closer. But I have to hear myself talk. I have to. Okay, so yeah, let's get started. Let's get some things out of the way. I've been on hiatus. It is not my first time being on the internet. I used to have a YouTube channel. I used to stream. I used to vlog. However, engineering school, adulthood, life got in the way. But I'm going to talk about kind of what I've seen, what I've assessed, what I've gathered in that time. It was like right around my second year of undergrad, second year of 7 years. I took 7 years of undergraduate curriculum. This is already getting boring. No, it's not. We love it here. But the point being is I've spent nearly a decade with people, with motivated people who are supposed to be, allegedly the cream of the crop here if we're going to go seek higher education. People who wanted to do stuff with their lives. And not only did I go to school with them, but I partied with them. I worked with them at the local food and, it was actually Urbane Cafe. I don't know why I'm trying to be vague. But what I'm trying to get at is I spent 7 years, 2010 to 2017, getting my undergrad. I started as a biomedical engineering student, and I finished as a broadcast student. So what I mean to say is I've seen both sides of the brain, right? I've worked with engineers on group projects, and I've worked with creatives on group projects. I've seen them at their highest highs. I've seen them at their lowest lows after failing exams or worried about how they're going to make rent, or I partied with them. I've drank with them. I've had sex with them. I've been intimate. Like the college is like the developmental years, in my opinion. And like just this for viewers who are watching, I'm doing a kind of like a gamut, an array of a spectrum of different types of people that I guess I'm trying to say. And the thing that I have noticed the most is the change in people's ego. That kind of tends to be like what we think about most, whether it's a professional setting, a collaborative setting. A lot of the things I did for work was working with the public. I worked retail. I worked at an Urban Outfitters. I've bussed tables. I've worked the door at a music venue in that time. I spent a lot of time bartending as well. So I've also dealt with the Gen Pop, enemy number one as far as I'm concerned. And I've been able to see the evolution of all of the things that I just listed, from Obama era all the way through to second Trump era. Like, I consider myself a pop cultural anthropologist. I took a cultural anthropology class in college, one of my years of college, and it just really spoke to me how, depending on where you're at in the globe, what that could determine anything from hair color to types of music you like to types of movies you watch. Different types of entertainment performs better in different parts of the world, and that's all a part of politics and culture and economics and all of that stuff, diversity. So I'm fascinated by all of that, and that's kind of, I think, what I want this pod to be about. And we'll kind of take it from there. But there's just so much stuff that I've noticed in terms of like pattern recognition that I think, can get really stuffy when it gets tied to the politics of it all, or if we get too academic with it, like in my cultural anthropology class. Like, instead of reading like these, this is going to happen a lot. Words are not good for me. Those essays, like an actual researched academic paper, piece of work. I just watch Housewives. You can go back to the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills and watch how the ladies acted, how they carried themselves, what they said, and you can tie it and just watch from just the lens of like, as we've shifted presidents. I mean, these shows have been on the air long enough now where, they have 14, 15, 16 seasons. And I've watched every single episode. And I've watched them live as they come out, but I'm also kind of late to the party. So I kind of also had the privilege to like go back in time and like see the different technology and the different fashions. And like, it's all tied into one. So let me tell you, I'm already getting carried away. 1 second. This is nerve-wracking. I don't know why my heart's racing so fast. This is not serious. This is fun. This has to be entertaining, too. I don't want to just, like, be super boring. Can you vape in here? ASMR. Okay. Immediately feeling better. Cool. So let's talk about, for those who don't know me, who I am. But we got through. Yeah. Excuse me. Something we need to talk about is I don't know if you guys watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, but I have the same condition that Dee does when you're like really anxious. Like my gag reflex is on. I've got all my meds cranking through me. I've had 2 coffees today and literally nothing to eat. So that's where we're at. But yeah, speaking of meds, let's talk about my big 3 while we're at it. I am a Lexapro Sun. I am a hydroxyzine Moon and a Concerta Rising. I am a very anxious person. I have ADD, ADHD. I also am a very sad boy. I'm also depressed, kind of for the aforementioned things that I just listed. Has got me where I am. But let me tell you, shout out to modern medicine, because the 3 that I'm working with right now, they get along very, very well. Take my Lexapro for my depression. Hydroxyzine, I don't know if that is as familiar with everyone, but that's like an as needed anxiety medication. So like when I start to get the gags and the heaves, I can just take a couple of those, and that usually settles things. And then Concerta Rising, obviously, to perform and be the Sagittarius that I am, I need some Concerta. I need to stay focused. I need to stay dialed in. I usually don't take it on the weekends. I usually just take it Monday through Friday, but I really did not want to get distracted too much here today. So having all of those conditions from childhood. I have an Italian mother who, thought I could just rub some dirt on my depression and it would go away. Shout out to Deb. I was a very anxious kid growing up, and, coming back to what I was saying, what I want this podcast to be about is like, it is in my nature to soak up everything like a sponge. I am constantly reading The Room. As a little gay boy, I didn't really like come out of the closet, I think, until I was like at least 22. So I went all the way through high school, not really discussing it. It was a very don't ask, don't tell type situation. constantly like, how is my body language? How am I holding myself? How am I gesticulating? I'm an Italian boy, as I mentioned, so I'm already like very flamboyant and explosive and emotional. So I feel like I just was so aware of how my actions were going to be perceived and be seen, and if it was going to be acceptable or not. So I kind of call all my like neurodivergence kind of like my superpower. I've definitely used it to my advantage. And yeah, I kind of want to come back to the ego and then get into the episode here. Like, from egos growing up and witnessing, my dad not wanting to take instructions, I know where we're going type thing, to being vulnerable in a relationship. I have so many friends that, I saw their relationships fail because they were unable to be vulnerable with one another. I've watched ego rip apart my family, workplaces even. I work in a creative field, so there's a lot of people that put a lot of emotion and a lot of, identity into the stuff we're putting out there. And, sometimes people are stubborn and they're making decisions right now that, look at our politics. Like, again, this is like what I'm trying to get at, is like, it's all the same. It's all fear-based, right? Like, I really, really want to believe that ICE and those who support them don't genuinely hate immigrants. I think if they just went to therapy and, reflected as to why they want these people out of their country, and it actually has to do with like the ridiculous state that is our economy, the job market right now, like, it's a disaster. And I can promise you, it's not the immigrants that are the reason why you're unhappy. The reason you're unhappy is because you don't have a job and you're acting out of fear and you have no money and you don't, everyone is scrambling for the last freaking dime that they can get. And it's just like, you guys, we all need to just like take a step back and calm down. So those are my credentials. And that's all I have to say about that. I think I know people really, really well. I've had to work in situations like retail and specifically like bartending and waiting tables. Like, my livelihood, my tips, my, income was based upon how I made my guests feel at my table or at my bar. Like, and watching and being able to witness the people who are not concerned about that and just kind of let their what have you fly, I'm over it. So we're going to talk about it, and we're going to call out some people that, I feel like are maybe acting out of fear, and get to continue to hold these statuses of power by scaring people and making them scared. Joe Rogan, where's my camera? Joe Rogan, I'm not scared of you. What we're doing here is not that hard. I could do a podcast too. Okay? So that's why I'm here. I know a lot of you are probably reluctant to listen to another white man with a microphone. I hear you. I'm with you. If this show existed, I would be watching it, not making it. So that's why we're here. I've had 6 years of production experience now. I'm living in Los Angeles. We are coming to you from the Los Angeles Public Library. I did not want to buy this microphone. I did not want to buy this camera I'm talking into. I didn't want to have to do any of this because this is just kind of going to be an experiment, if you will, coming back to my biomedical engineering days and figuring out, like, what is an experiment, what is testable, and we're just testing to see like how this goes. This doesn't have to be so serious. It's just, I don't have to have a whole 20 episode lineup for you guys. I'm just here to plug the library. Okay. Like, this is all free. This is all available to me because I have a library card. So I don't want to hear anyone complaining about like, oh, well, if I had this and I had this, then I'd be doing it. Like, no, 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 no. And plus, like, I'm sick of seeing, like, people who are doing this and getting attention for doing it and getting invited places for doing this. Like, I could use a brand deal. Daddy will take a trip to the desert. Hello, if anyone is sending any podcasters to the desert for Coachella next year, I need to see Cat's Eye. I need to see them live. I am an icon through and through. So, what has all of this awareness, all of this room reading, what has this gotten me? This has gotten me to a hyperbolic version of myself, okay? Like, I don't really believe that I am all-knowing, all-seeing. But the pop culture prophecy and myself, the pop culture prophet, kind of came up from, again, as I repeat myself, trends, pattern recognition. Like, you can't tell me that Labubu is not just, like, a 2025 version of Furby. And, like, look where we were as a society and, like, desperate. We were, like, in the middle of a recession. No, I think, when Furby was coming out. Like, Tickle Me Elmo, Princess Diana, Beanie Babies, like, these pops, like, it's all related. Trends recycle, so do our behaviors. We've got a dictator leading the free nation right now, like World War II. It's feeling very World War II-y. It's feeling World War II-y out here. So then it makes me wonder what comes next. Like, revolution, rebellion. Like, these are the things that we've seen happen in history when we let things get to the position that we're in. And then you're going to come and tell me that, like, it's my responsibility to keep my cool. Like, it's my responsibility to, I mean, this is a bad example, but, like, plastic straws. Oh, here's one. So, like, AI, right? Like, we're starting to see all these stories about how, like, people's bills are more because they live near an AI plant or something, or they have no water and, like, no water pressure, or it's, like, dirty water because I don't even understand how that's even possible. By the way, why is their water dirty? Because of AI. Like, I don't get it. But then they're, like, starting to guilt trip us now. Like, luckily I was able to create this by myself. But, like, my little, like, clicky thing for the show, that's AI generated. And then, like, when it wasn't quite right and I asked it to, like, modify it a little bit and tweak it again, I'm like, oh, my God. This is why Penelope in Kansas can't cook and is like, this is like the modern day Aaron Brockovich. Like, these, like, we used to think that, like, the man was bad, and, like, coming back to plastic straws, like, I just don't understand how it's, like, the consumer's responsibility. How is it my responsibility, and why am I the one that's supposed to feel bad for wanting just, like, a cute little graphic? I'm going to pay someone, and by the way, I don't have a studio yet to take a picture of myself in and have, like, a real photo shoot in. So yeah, I'm going to use AI. And once I have my own little studio, I will have somebody, a human being, come take a photo of me, and I will use that as my click thingy. But until then, like, I just don't know, like, what I'm supposed to do, and why do I feel like absolute shit for frickin' using AI? So it's after having constantly these thoughts of just, like, is nobody else seeing this? Like, how can we say that we love Julia Roberts and then live in the day that we're having now? Like, that's who I am as a person. Like, I watch things, I internalize them, I hold on to them, and then I learn, I grow, and I use that to inform my next decision. You can't sit here today and listen to these stories and not think, I'm Aaron Brockovich. People are going to start getting diseases, growing third eyeballs, sixth toes. And we're all going to be like, I don't know how this could have happened. All of our food companies are owned by organizations, other companies that also own cigarettes. Make it make sense. And I wouldn't call myself the pop culture prophet, but I do love this, the little conspiracy theory or whatever. Like I don't know if you guys know this one, but like if people say like, oh, Bigfoot or like the Loch Ness monster or like these kind of like myths and lores and of mythical creatures, they didn't have glasses back then. Like, what if that was just a hairy ass bitch walking through the woods? You don't know. You didn't have glasses then. So my point being, when we think of prophets, Adam, Moses, like, they didn't have Wellbutrin and beta blockers for them. They were watching everyone walk around wherever it is, frickin' Rome, finger popping each other's assholes, being like, what is wrong with you people? Do you not see the writing on the walls? And everyone's like, oh my God, he knew this was going to happen. He saw writing on the walls that only he could see. No, bitch. Moses was just anxious. Moses or whatever, Mohammed just needed Lexapro. Mohammed needed a beta blocker and a SSRI. There's no such thing as prophets. One, because there's no God. God can't talk to you. And two, he was schizophrenic. We treat the homeless population so poorly around here and say that they're schizophrenic and then we all make fun of them. But then Muhammad was worshipped, was like a whole, this is not a podcast about religion. I'm just trying to say like where I'm coming from and why I say I'm a prophet, right? Like I'm not, this is not a religion podcast. I'll tell you what else this podcast is not. This is not a podcast for Republicans. Obviously, I don't think I need to elaborate there any further. This podcast is not for the people who refuse to cross the street when they see the brigade, that is me and my 3 dogs and my partner, coming down the sidewalk, can barely keep it together, coming down Fletcher over in Eagle Rock. Shout out Eagle Rock, East Side. Like, you see us coming. Why are you just standing there? Like, either like move over, kind of go to like where there's maybe a driveway, so we're not all 10 of us trying to like pass each other at the exact same time. This podcast is not for you. This podcast is not for Tesla drivers. I think that goes without saying. It has absolutely nothing to do with politics and everything to do with Tesla drivers being like the new Priuses of the road. I don't know if we remember Priuses, that they kind of like got a bad rap for like being bad drivers. I hate bad drivers, and I found that those Prius drivers, they're doing pretty well because they're all driving Teslas now. So, yeah. Also, like, supporters of the patriarchy, this podcast is not for you. As I mentioned earlier, you've got enough podcasts. Go listen to Joe Rogan. Go listen to, I don't even know. These people are not in my orbit. I don't think about these people. But I know there's a lot of them, and you could go listen to those. I hate to say it, but this podcast is not for Swifties. I'm going to say a lot of negative things about Taylor Swift and her impact on pop culture and the music industry and feminism. And if you're interested in having that debate with me, I know there's a lot of you. I should actually be welcoming a lot of former Swifties to the pod, hopefully, because that album, Mama, it was not good. I'm loving seeing all the stuff on TikTok where it's like Charlie and she's like, oh, I'm just like really going through it, and to be a woman in this industry, I, struggling, coming to terms with this like really complex emotion, and like why I feel this vitriol towards this girl when she's done nothing wrong but be just the exact opposite of me. But like it makes me wonder about her success, and it keeps me up at night. And then when people feel sorry for me for feeling this way, ugh, it's like a knife because I shouldn't even be feeling this in the first place. And then you've got Taylor Swift, who's like, oh my God, you're so obsessed with me. Oh my God. Like, I bled out of country. I'm now a pop star. I'm now on football. I'm now on NFL. FNL. Catch me on FNL. I don't want this to be a Taylor bashing either. This is not a bashing. I don't know what this is yet, but I don't want to spend any more time talking about Taylor Swift. But I think you get where I'm coming from. She has a very large impact on everything that she does because of who she is. And I was talking to my friend Anthony, and like Olivia Dean dropped a great album, and no one's talking about Olivia Dean. Everyone's talking about Taylor Swift, and the album itself sucks. And now we have everyone trying to defend a shitty album when we could be talking about more pressing things. We could be listening to better music and actually be worrying about things that matter instead of trying to defend an album that sucks. But anyhow, that's, again, what they want us to do. Like, Taylor Swift is a supporter of the patriarchy because she is promoting this female on female fighting. Like, that was literally what Charlie was talking about in her song. Like, Brat healed. We saw women coming together. We saw Lorde and we saw Charlie come together during Girl, It's So Confusing. Like, Brat was a healing album. It was a vulnerable album. And, like, Taylor didn't even lock in. You don't even need to read between the lines. You just need to read the lines. Like, I don't know if CTE is contagious, but she's acting like a concussed person. She's truly, truly, truly looking concussed on this album. And honestly, hopefully she is, because if she's not, she's a supporter of the patriarchy. She plays this like little girly girl. Like, how have you been 21 years old for 12 years? Like, that doesn't even make any sense to me. It's like infantilizing. It's like, I'm a little girl. Ooh-doo-doo-doo-doo. Who's that for? The man. Who likes that shit? The man, not the woman. You think Zooey Deschanel really likes polka dots that much? I don't think she does. Do I think Sabrina Carpenter likes wearing her bangs and her hair like that? Like, and be, ooh-dee-doo-dee-doo, little Bo Peep, Marilyn Monroe, happy birthday, Mr. President. Ew. None of y'all are invited. So, we have spent a lot of time talking about the patriarchy, and I think we can talk about it for a little bit more. Because they suck. I'm having a really hard time these days with my own gender identity because, like, I just get the ick so bad from men. Like, I just don't. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to make light of those who are on the pronoun forefront journey. Keep fighting the good fight. We love you. But, like, I'm not he, him. I can't be he, him. He, him is what's to blame for all of this. Like, I can identify how he, hims think because obviously I was born one. But, like, that's not, like, what I feel on the inside. Like, they are the same people that were calling women witches for learning how to read. Do we understand this? Witches for learning how to read. If your neighbor was having a hard time conceiving, I'm sorry, can we just... That's literally what's happening. That's like who I'm making eye contact with. So if I'm coming off a little... So I think we were talking about how men would claim that they were witches. Back in the day, what was that? The 1600s? Salem witch trials? If your neighbor was having a hard time conceiving children, you could be called a witch. for just existing. What does that sound like today, you guys? What does that sound like today? Oh, if you have brown skin, you must be an immigrant and therefore we need to deport you. That's not hyperbolic, by the way. That happened. So, and then don't get me started on their obsession with children. As a gay man, I'm always very concerned about my body language, what I say, how I act around children, because we're constantly being accused of grooming and preying on kids. They're so obsessed with women's reproductive rights. Like no one is harvesting babies, gay or female. All we want to do is just exist. I also learned that I really, really wish I could carry a baby. Somebody at work just had a baby, and somebody else just got pregnant. There's a couple other moms that I work with. And like when pregnancy gets brought up or childbirth and like seeing the way they light up and they start speaking like this special language. I witnessed it. It's not speaking in tongues. They're not demonic, but they do have like this special unspoken like repertoire that is so magical to witness. And yeah, I'm able to have the ability to reflect and be like, oh yeah, the feeling I'm feeling right now is jealousy. The patriarchy is just jealous of women. And I think the patriarchy knows the power that women possess and their ability to create life. And they want to control it. Because if it was really about the kids, we would not be having all of these school shootings. We would not be taking away reproductive rights. It's always been about controlling women. Because as long as the patriarchy has somebody else to point it, it doesn't matter if your skin is a different color. It is white male supremacy. That is supreme in our country. And possibly the world, but I don't get out a lot, so I can only speak for this country. And it is easier to point at a Mexican and say that they need to be deported because of the color of their skin. It is much easier to point at a woman and be like, oh, she's too emotional. Oh, she just got married. She might get pregnant. Oh, let's just pay her less money. Kind of sounds like 3/4 of a person. You're making 3/4 of a dollar. How are we not reflecting and looking back and seeing how this is all related? The patriarchy is rooted in insecurity and otherdom. They need to make everyone else feel like others so they can feel secure in themselves without having to do any type of self-reflection, any type of accountability. Like, I don't know what that makes me then. You know? But like, men are trying to grow babies and continue babies to term in dead black women. Instead of maybe we can figure out how we can carry babies. Or maybe figure out how living pregnant people stop dying. That's pretty crazy. You can't just have a baby. The stork doesn't just drop a baby down. And there is data, and that suggests that it is quite risky. It is quite risky to have a baby. So let's figure out how we can continue to have the baby live instead of figuring out how to make the mother live. Let's see how we can make a pregnancy come to term in a as close to dead of a person as possible. So that way we don't have to worry about if the mother lives or not. Sorry. I said it. And this is not far off from the witch hunt, the Holocaust. Like, we are living in it today, and it is scary. But somebody needs to be talking about it. Somebody needs to be making fun of the anti-vaxxers, not in like a Rachel Maddow way that is so buttoned up and has all their facts and it comes out like this like essay, this audio essay. Like, no, I want this to be fun. I want to read people down that deserve to be read down. Like, when did we all become Libras? When do we all have to say, oh, well, let's think of the other person's point of view. Let's think of the other person's point of view. No, I don't feel like I need to look on the other side of somebody who is leading a genocide. When I don't need to consider what that person's day was that got them to this point, when they showed up to the polls and voted for somebody who was going to pay for a genocide. Why? They are eating the dogs, eating the cats. How did it not stop there? That was a lie. We have a lying, convicted felon in office. And you want to tell me that I am not qualified or have the rights to come into this public library and podcast studio and say whatever the hell I want for an hour? I beg to differ. So I'm here to bring bullying back. Hopefully you get bullied on this show. And maybe you can actually learn something that your teacher or your parents or your older siblings should have told you. And like, try to restore some faith in humanity. Honestly. Like, we cannot win the war by watching Netflix. The second we numb ourselves and dissociate and stop talking about this and turn this into a discussion, they win. It is not personal. This is not a personal attack on you people. This is not me saying that I'm not perpetuating an otherdom. I'm trying to open a conversation. It is not personal. You're just doing it wrong. You're voting wrong. You're driving wrong. You're living your life wrong. And I want to share with you guys what I have gathered and learned and observed and how it's been fun for me and it's been beneficial for me. I feel like this is my way of attempting to leave the world a better place than I found it. See something, say something, right? That's what we were taught. And I've seen a lot. And so I'm here to say something. It's not personal. I'm not here to say that Republicans should not exist. I'm not here to say that Swifties should not exist. I'm just here to say that this podcast is probably not for you. And that one of your friends hopefully listens to it and is inspired to tell you what's up. And I can hopefully give them the information and rhetoric to do so. It's not personal. You're just doing it wrong. I know you guys all watch Monty Python. I hope. That was a critique on old King Arthur times and how stupid all the men were then. Newsflash, they're still stupid today. Okay? So yeah, I just think that I am trying my best to leave the world a better place when I found it than the way I found it. And instead of being like, I told you so, I just have now these to play back and use as my evidence. And if that makes me a prophet, so be it. But I hope that this kind of serves as an inspiration to hopefully one person to go out there and do whatever it is that you've been wanting to do. Because time is short. You only have one life. And don't let those telling you no or that you shouldn't do it to dictate how it goes. And I'm here to guide you. It's not personal. You're just doing it wrong. Okay, bye. I did it. Now to turn all of this off.